Hey everybody, I wanted to do a video talking about how does tournament pairings work. I had a lot of people dropping a lot of comments about going to your first tournament and things you need to know, things you need to prepare for. But one of the things I did forget to talk about is how do you get assigned who you're going to play any game to game. So what I wanted to do is I'm actually going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys the tournament that I actually played in last weekend. So I played in the Texas Open. Major had, I think because they opened it up for more registrations, I think it was just shy of 200 players. What I wanted to show you guys is how this works. So I'm going to start with this. Whether you're playing, unless you're playing in a tournament that has very unusual rules or doing something different, this is generally how tournament pairings go. Round one is a straight up crapshoot. It could be the world champ versus the guy playing their very first game. It is all over the place. Some will try to do some pairings, but for the most part, your first game is kind of a crapshoot. So I always try to tell people, especially if you're going to a GT, don't be discouraged because, your first game, you might get stomped or you might stomp somebody, but they haven't figured out how to pair you. Now, after your first game, here's where things start to get fun. It splits. Everybody that went 1 win and 0 losses, obviously in their first game, they're put into a pool, and everybody that did not win and took a loss go into a second pool. And then only the players with a loss play the other players with a loss, and the players with a win play the other players with a win. And they will theoretically try to place you by wherever you are. So if you're playing in any kind of, you'll have a thing, called placings. So this tournament is over, but let's just use number 4 and number 5. If this was the case and they were trying to figure out who they're going to play, number 4 could go, oh, you know what? I'm going to be playing number 3 because they are the person right next to me. And we theoretically, well, that's a bad example. They had a tie, but we'll use 5 and 6. Number 5 would go, oh, I'm going to play player number 6 because both of us won our first game. We're going to get paired into each other. And then subsequently, if we went down, 2 players that lost. So as the tournament goes on, you're actually playing people that are closer to your skill level. So if on day 1, you win all 3 games, you're going to be playing very, very good players on day 2. If day 1, you lose all 3 games, you're going to probably have a much better chance of getting some wins on day 2 because you're playing people that are more inside your skill bracket. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. There's a very big difference between 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. So stay with me for a second, and I want to kind of give you an example. So we're going to scroll down just a little bit, and we're going to find someone that's 3 and 3. Where's the top of the 3 and the 3s? Okay, right here. So Brandon went 3 and 3. All right. And he placed 55th overall. Now I'm going to show you something else. Okay. So here I have a friend of mine. He placed 94th. So you might go, well, why are they different? Well, 2 things. One, it takes the total of your score. So if you were to click this little drop down button, it will tell you he scored a total of 363 battle points. So it does look at that and it factors that factor in to go, okay, my friend James, who was at the tournament with me, he scored 363 battle points. So if someone scored 364, that person would be ahead of him. But it also looks at your strength of schedule. How good were your opponents? So you can see his average win rate of his opponents was, we'll call it 39%. Now, I'm going to show you a different one. I'll pull me up. So I finished 37th, right? I only had 1 more win than James did. So why am I so much higher in the ranking? Well, if you were to look at my games, you'd see that I not only scored 470 battle points, so I had higher total points, but the average player that I played against had a 60% win ratio. So what that tells you is that the average player that I played at the tournament went 4 and 2 or better. The average player that he played ended up probably going the opposite. 2 and 4, there's some 3 and 3s. It's going to be a blend, right? So it makes a difference. The other thing is who you lose to has a big factor. So like the easiest example is my first loss was to a gentleman named Cam. Well, if we go over here, he won the whole tournament. So me losing to the guy that actually won the entire tournament and going undefeated, while it still counted as a loss, it rated higher and helped me elevate my ranking at this tournament and end up doing better. The other individual that I happened to lose to, which is just how this thing helps you, placed 14th. So the two people that beat me were 5-1 and 6-0. Everyone else that so what it's saying is that, okay, they were both good players and I didn't lose to someone that I should have theoretically beat. So it takes this kind of, almost think about it like a fantasy football type math, and that's how it sorts you on where you are, who you're going to play in the next round, and how, excuse me, how you advance. So I'll pull myself up so I'm not not using somebody else's. But if you were to go in here and you wanted to look at it, it shows you a lot of really neat things. It'll actually show you what your path to victory is. So for those of you that are college football fans, think of this as like your strength of schedule. And it'll tell you like how hard were your games to totally make it to the top and win. And kind of like, we'll look at Cam's. We'll pick on Cam. So Cam's was 63, which basically means he was playing really, really good players. If we scroll down to about between us, we'll look at number 20. You can see he was 60. So this is a perfect example. My battle score is very close to this guy. My score, very close to this guy. But he played better players. The opponents that he played had a 75% win ratio. So even though we're both 4-2 and he's got 464, and I think I'm like, let's look how close it was, because I think it's pretty gosh darn close. I'm 470. I actually have more battle points than that gentleman did. So when you're looking at it and you go, okay, I have more battle points and the same win to loss ratio. Why am I in the 30s and he's ranked 20th? It's because the players he played were better. Therefore, his wins counted for more. Those of you that watch videos that I do with Jason, this is the old Alabama ranking. Alabama always has the tough schedule, so they get the free pass. I'm not saying that's what Thomas did. It's more a shot at Bama fans. But what I am saying is that strength of schedule does matter and it will help you place up. So hopefully this helps, everybody kind of understand exactly how placings work and how you go up. And this is also why in that video, I actually said you can play in RTs, but GTs are so much fun because by the time you get to day 2, you're playing people that are of a similar skill set to you. So you're having win or loss, you're having really good games, really close games. My first day, all of my games were either I scored 100 points or my opponent scored 100 points. By the time we got to our second day, we started having some battles because I was playing against people that were a lot more in line with where I was as a player. So I hope this is helpful. Hope this sheds some lights on how pairings work and how placings work at tournaments. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Remember, we've got the Croup giveaway for Meta Monday for this whole month. So go to any of the Meta Monday videos and type in the word meta, and you can have a chance to win that giveaway. But hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great night.